The story is about my husband. He had been in the jewelry business for a long time, and he had a hearing deficiency. He was totally deaf in one ear and could hardly hear in the other ear. He was having problems with listening to customers come and speak, and he wouldn't do anything about it. He also was in Sertoma Law Sertoma, and I was in the Law Sertoma group, and he was very active in it when we lived up in Ohio. Well, then he retired from there, and we came to Florida. Well, when we came to Florida, the first thing we did was get invited to the Sertoma and Law Sertoma groups, and they were working with the hearing problems as they did in Ohio. But they didn't have the facilities in Ohio for the help that he needed at that time. So he got involved with it, and they were just had opened up a facility on Trouble Creek Road. It was an old schoolhouse, and they had people there that were working with hearing problems, mostly adults at that time, and because there was more adults in Florida that had hearing problems, and they worked with them. I got involved by doing volunteer work in the office at that time. We weren't doing the testing then yet, but we were working in the office, and I would help out in the office anytime I could, and worked out with them and did their money-making projects that they raised money to help support the hearing problems. At that time, they raised quite a bit of money, and they outgrew the facilities there, and they moved to a bank on Main Street in Newport Richey, and there we had larger facilities and had better facilities. The doctors from Children's Hospital came out here a couple times a week to work with the patients as they had been treated at all Children's and a follow-up here in Newport Richey. That was there for quite a while, and we grew even more. They raised more money, and they wanted their own facilities along with the help from the All Children's Hospital, and they built a facility that we are now in on Rowan Road, and we've been here since 2003. Well, All Children's put their own clinic up, and we have part of the facilities here where they have the speech and hearing, and they have their own offices for the Sertoma and speech and hearing facility. They work very hard. They raise a lot of money. They need to raise money because they help with the projects that they have. There's no money given to them other than through donations and through grants that Debbie has worked very hard, and so has Craig, to get grants for them, and they have completed that job many times, and it's renewed every year, and they still have to work at it. And then came along the government wanting children to be tested for hearing testing in the schools because there was problems with hearing with children, more so now. And so they passed an order through the government that children had to be tested from pre-Ks and kindergarten and then 6th grade. So I went into that program. I was working with the children, and I had a ball with the little kids. They were so great. They were scared to death sometimes because they didn't want those hearing aids on, and you had to talk with them and laugh with them and tell them, let them hear the sounds before they could, and it worked great. And we had a great program going, and it's still going on. They do all the schools. In fact, there's about 56 schools that they do, and they do the private schools as well and nursing homes, and they have a great program going on, and the money is very much needed for this. It's gotten to the point where we have a lot of children that are being taken care of, and the children are taken care of at birth now to find out if there's a hearing problem, and you can work with it immediately then. And then the older people, we have to get donations and that for them, and they have to be on a waiting list sometimes, but it helps a great deal. Not only that, we just recently started with a program of giving back hearing aids, batteries, I'm sorry, not the aids themselves, the batteries. And we have a program where they recycle the hearing aids, and people send back hearing aids because they can be recycled, and I do a lot of checking on the hearing aids and the batteries and work with them and know and separate batteries, and we keep them, the good ones, we know they're dated so people know when the batteries expire, and if they have a problem with it, sometimes they don't know what it is, and they can tell by the batteries. The hearing aids have made a great difference in the past years. My husband's had his for a long time before he passed away, and it was a great help for him. I could do the dishes in the kitchen without him hollering at me, "Oh, that noise again." And I had to do it when he wasn't around. So it was a big help for me in my house. And when he was in a group with people, he could hear people and understand what they were saying. And he never went a day without putting his hearing aid in. He'd put it in the morning and he'd leave it in until he went to bed at nighttime. And through him, I have worked here, and I donate all my time. And I guess I'm the oldest one, besides being the oldest years too, not the time in working, volunteering. And I've enjoyed every minute of it, and I work and enjoy the people I work with. And Deb and Craig work so hard and do so much for this. People don't realize what it takes to raise the funds that they do and the time that they spend in it to do this. This is a great program, and I think older people really enjoy it. And when they come for the batteries, they get them free, and it's a big help for people that are on a limited funds, and they can get them free. We notify them, we put it in the paper, and they come in and we give them the size they want. We know, and I keep the batteries separated, so we have the sizes all ready for them when they come in. So it's been a big help for them and for me. It's been great for me as well. So I've enjoyed it, and I'm retired, and I volunteer my time, and I enjoy every minute of it. Well, when they first get their hearing aids, it's surprising because they really don't know what they've missed and what they haven't heard. And when you look at them, they'll say, "What was that sound?" You tell them, "Well, that was a branch cracking. You walked on a branch and it cracked, you know." Or the birds were singing. They could hear the breeze in the trees. And just the looks on their face, they were amazed and looked around and just couldn't believe some of the things that they could hear. And I'd be in another room and my husband could hear me instead of hollering at him and going into that room to talk to him. And I know this happened to a lot of them. And I know some of the women when their husbands have lost their hearing, they are so grateful and so thankful that they've had it, because they can sit there and listen to the TV very like everybody else does, you know, don't have to turn it full blast so the whole neighborhood can hear it. And it's really a great awakening for everybody, really. Because so much has been done in so many years with children when they're first born, and the things that they can do with the cochlear implants and the other hearing aids have advanced so much that they don't have near the problem they had with hearing all the noises that they did when they first came out with the hearing aids. And it's just amazing what they've done with them and the size of them. And even sometimes the ones inside the ears don't work as well as behind the ears for some people. And they work so well with them that it's really been great advancement for everybody with the hearing aids. It's just awesome.